here before. Exact same issue. 2013, Republicans shut down the government over repealing Obamacare. Eventually, Republicans back then caved. This time, it's the Democrats holding the government hostage, and Republicans are the ones considering going nuclear. We begin tonight with Senator Markwayne Mullin, Republican from Oklahoma. He spent the afternoon with the president in the Rose Garden and the Oval Office. I think that's you right there.
Oh, sure enough.
There you go.
Appreciate you.
Good to see you, sir. Thank you. Nuclear option on the table? If so, why haven't you used it already?
It's not really on the table, and the reason, the biggest concern, it may be forced upon us, but the biggest concern that we have is the Senate goes back and forth, and when the filibuster was in place, keep in mind, it kept judges off the bench. It kept the Chuck Schumer from packing the Supreme Court in 21, and it kept them from passing the most disastrous overhaul that we've had to federalized programs in history in 22. So the filibuster is there for the minority to have a voice. What's happening now, though, is the reason why they're so afraid to allow appropriation bills to go through is simply because of who the chair is. Who's the chair of appropriations? It's Susan Collins. Susan Collins is the target race in Maine. And they're afraid that they will allow her to get her appropriations through, that they would, well, basically give her a win. And the prime example of that is last week we had the defense appropriations bill come up. It came out of Appropriations Committee, which I sat on, 25-3. When it went to the floor, every one of the Democrats that voted for it in the committee voted against it on the floor. And so
there's a line to be inserted here about you can't hate Washington enough.
I don't know. Every time I get to that point, I hate it worse.
Okay, but look, the fact that John Fetterman came out and put the nuclear option on the table and said, I would support it, is that a warning to Democrats? Are Democrats starting to get squishy?
So some of the Democrats, this is us talking to all your audience, but privately too, is some of the Democrats who came to me and said, please put the nuclear option up. We want the government open, but we can't because Chuck Schumer's threatened to punish us if we go forward. So here's a thought that has been talked about. Not a full nuclear option, but a nuclear option that goes in effect when we go into a shutdown that would be very limited to what it could do, that it would fund all essential employees, it would fund the military, and it would fund essential programs with the CR. So it would open a largest.
So in other words, it would deal with air traffic controllers and food stamps, among some other stuff.
Well, it would open 80% of the government open, and the other 20% would still stay closed. What I thought about, though, is we do that, and this is just floating ideas. Right now, everybody's trying to figure out how to move the Democrats off of their position.
So when you were at the Rose Garden today, is President Trump saying, make the Democrats pay, hold their feet to the fire, or is he trying to give them a way out?
It's really hard to give them a way out. Keep in mind, the person who wrote this clean CR, this clean continuous resolution, was Chuck Schumer in September. So this is his bill that he's voting against now. So there's no room for us to negotiate. What we're saying is, we're not negotiating with you, but we will make sure once the government's reopened, we want to do everything we can to avoid another shutdown. So if health care is your issue, let's negotiate on health care. But there has to be some option to keep this from happening, because if the Democrats want the shutdown, which obviously they do, and they could open it up in 5 minutes tomorrow if they wanted to, but they don't.
You got to work overnight, so they could. Well, you could have a vote tonight.
Well, we probably won't. They control the floor for 24 hours now. They're in this filibuster mood where they're up in the chamber right now as we speak, ranting and raving.
We'll try to get a live picture.
And who knows what they're talking about, but they control the floor for 24 hours. Right after they yield the floor back at the end of their 24 hours, then we'll go into a CR, give them an opportunity once again.
So you're going to have another vote tomorrow. Yes. And this is the idea, right? Okay, this is live pictures. Trump is violating the law, evidently, is what they're talking about now. And they get to go. It's not the same thing. It's not Cory Booker doing it for.
No, it's not. Yeah, it's not one guy. As soon as they run out of speakers, the floor reopens.
Okay, but this is an important point. You guys are continuing to have these votes to force Democrats to vote no.
Right.
And I get it. You're trying to change the optics of Republicans controlling the House, Republicans controlling the Senate, and Republicans controlling the White House, but saying it's Democrats' fault for keeping the government shut down. It's a hard sell. We all can agree on that. It's a factual sell, but it's a hard sell.
I don't know if it's hard or not. To me, it makes it pretty simple because we can't open it by ourselves, and they're voting against the bill they voted for.
With the nuclear option, you can.
Yeah,
and that's going to be...
It has had some triggers in there. If you do the nuclear option, I think there's some things that had to go in play. One, if you do the nuclear option because of shutdown, Democrats hate tax cuts. So to keep them from allowing it to go to shutdown, then say if we go into a shutdown and the nuclear option goes into place, that for that fiscal year, the American people across the board, all tax brackets, 3% tax break. Just for that 1 year.
So you're trying to figure out...
And then the second thing is if it happens, then it would automatically reopen in a CR
You understand you've already confused me.
Yeah.
Now that may say more about me.
Well, we can get
I can imagine how the viewers are feeling. But there's an important point here. And I think you've got the president in the Rose Garden, and you've got how American people feel. And there is a big gulf between the two of those things. We've put together a little bit of tape. And what this is the president talking about the economy, and then coverage from our affiliates interviewing people right now, some of whom aren't getting paid, some of whom are trying to buy groceries. Take a listen.
This country was a dead country, and now we're the hottest country anywhere in the world.
It's more than a nightmare. It is catastrophic.
We have over 17 trillion already. That's investment coming in.
It's scary to think about not having enough food. Because, again, as human beings, we need food to survive.
The economy is roaring, the incomes are rising, and small business confidence is at the highest level in over a decade.
It's not a good feeling to try to figure out where your next meal is going to come from.
SNAP benefits end. That's going to be on repeat at every local news station around the country.
Well, my feedback on that would be if the Democrats are really that concerned, then open the government back up. We're not asking you to vote for any Republican policies. We're not asking you to vote for any riders that's on this clean CR. We're asking you just to open the government back up on the bill that you wrote a year ago, that Chuck Schumer wrote. It's very simple. So people say, well, why can't you negotiate with them? Where are you going to negotiate? We are at our bottom dollar. What can we give away except give them the $1.5 trillion they want?
To be fair, okay, you could negotiate on somewhere between the $1.5 trillion and zero that this CR does, right? There's wiggle room in there.
No, there isn't, because everything they want is to reinstall the waste, fraud, and abuse that we cut out as Republicans with one big beautiful bill.
So there's not anything they want that is acceptable?
No, because we're not given an inch on the clean CR. It is clean for a reason. They have chose to shut down the American government for one reason, because they're afraid of primaries. That's it. 100%. Their base demanded them to shut down. They cannot explain why they shut down. So what they do is they go on news and they tell a sexy lie that puts fear in the heart of people because it's easier to believe than the truth. But if they want to actually see the truth, read what our clean CR is and then read what they put down, what their CR is. Because if you look at it, you'll see that it's just full of fat, waste, fraud, and abuse that they want the taxpayers to pay to open the government for 4 weeks. Now it's like a week and a half. That's absurd. Why would any taxpayer want to pay that kind of money?
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.